Hi, I'm Chef Ann Ziada, and I cook for First Descent, and we host outdoor adventure programming for young adults impacted by cancer and MS. And today I'm going to show you something that we love to have for dinner, which is a quick and easy stir fry. So we're going to saute some vegetables, and we're going to serve it with a peanut sauce. So it's going to be very yummy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our peanut sauce. So our peanut sauce is great for the stir fry, but you can also use it as a dip for a snack with some crudité or some rice crackers, cucumbers. It's all divine. So for this, we're going to start with some natural peanut butter. So I would look for a peanut butter that doesn't have any added sweeteners or hydrogenated fats. So look for one where the ingredients are just peanuts, maybe some canola oil, or maybe a little salt is usually okay too. Peanuts are a great source of protein, and they're going to keep us full. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in our blender. If you want to use another nut, you can use almond butter, you can use cashew butter. They're all going to work great. So we'll start with adding our peanut butter. And then just so it's not too thick, we're going to add water to thin it out. We have a little bit of canola oil here. I would try to get an organic canola oil. It'll just be a little healthier and not made from genetically modified crops. But you can also use other neutral oils here, safflower, grapeseed, peanut oil, all of them will work fine. We're going to add a little honey. This is going to sweeten the sauce. Nice natural sweetener. You can also use maple syrup if that's local to you. We're going to add a little tamari, which is a naturally brewed soy sauce. So you can use shoyu, tamari, soy sauce. I would just check the ingredients. Try to avoid ones that have things like caramel color added to it or corn syrup that are pretty highly processed. Look for one that's just made with soybeans and maybe a little wheat if it is shoyu, or no wheat if it is tamari. So tamari is the gluten-free version. So if you're avoiding gluten, this is a great recipe to make. Okay, we're going to add just a touch of brown rice vinegar. So it's going to add a little tartness, a little brightness to the sauce, which is otherwise kind of rich. We're going to add some salt. And then we're going to add some fresh ginger. So we have a little fresh ginger root right here. So I'm just going to start by peeling it. Okay, you can also use a spoon to peel it or even your knife. Fresh ginger is great for digestion. Right, it's also anti-nausea, and it has a great flavor to it. So I peel off most of it, trim this end here. And then for this, I'm just going to slice it once and then slice through it a little bit more. So we'll have these nice big pieces. Right, you don't have to go too finely because the blender is going to do the rest of that work. But if it's too big, the blender might not catch it, and we're going to have a big chunk of ginger in our dish. Okay, let's get this in the blender. It smells so floral and beautiful. And the last thing we'll add is our lemon juice. So adding more brightness to the dish as well. So I'm straining out any extra seeds, catching them so they don't fall in. Okay, you can also use orange juice here, lime juice. It will all work really well. Okay, oh, it smells so good already. All right, we've got everything in for the sauce. Let's go ahead and blend it. So I have a nice high-speed blender here. All right, looks nice and smooth. And our peanut sauce is ready to go. Oh my God, I just want to dip everything in this. Okay, let's prepare our vegetables. So first, let's slice some onion. So I have a nice white onion here. You can use the yellow onion or red onion too. Start by trimming the ends off and then cutting it from root to tip down the middle. Then I can peel it. Take that leathery layer off as well. Okay, and now we're just going to slice this for our stir fry. So for our stir fry, we're going to cook our vegetables very quickly. So I want to do pieces that aren't too big, not too small. So I would say about a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch thick is nice. So I'm slicing it in the same direction as the grow lines, so from root to tip. And then when I get to an end that's a little uncomfortable to hold, I can knock it over and then finish it that way. And do the same with the other half. So my left hand is in a bear claw, so my fingertips are protected. Okay, and that is our sliced onion. Okay. So these are ready to go. So it's always smart to do all your cutting, all your prep. That way when you go to start cooking, you don't have to come back and do anything, especially a stir fry. It's so quick. You want everything ready to go. So that's our onion. For our carrot, we're going to do a bias cut. This is a small carrot. If your carrot is larger, you can maybe do like a quarter moon or a matchstick, but this guy's pretty thin. So start by peeling it. The outer edges are a little bitter and a little duller in color. So if we peel it, we get the sweetness of the carrot, and it looks nice and bright. So for my bias cut, I'm going to cut it at an angle, and it really depends how wide my carrot is, and it's going to determine how long my pieces are. So I like about, I don't know, about an inch size piece for a stir fry is nice. We don't want it to be too wide that you need a fork and knife to eat it. So I'm just going to go diagonally, slice it pretty thin. This is probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. And there's our bias cut because it's cut on an angle. Gives us a nice dynamic shape, right? Has a nice point to it. Let's do our bell pepper. So I'm going to start by trimming off the top. And then I want to take all the seeds out. So let's get a bowl to catch the seeds. So that little heart comes out. Kind of tear out any little seeds there. And for this, let's do a julienne cut. So we're going to cut it into strips. So I'm cutting around the bottom just to get rid of that membrane, right? Because we don't want these little white bitter pieces in there. And if you have some left on your pepper, you can just trim them off, right? They're going to cook. They're going to get a little mushy. It's going to look a little drab. This looks much nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and slice this. Okay, and this is a little bit long, right? Depends how big your pepper is. So I'm just going to cut them in half. These are nice bite-sized pieces. So you could do it in half first, and then slice it, or slice it and then trim them. Either way, no one's going to know. Okay. And when I'm slicing my bell pepper, I'm slicing it skin side down so that my knife grips the pepper really well. Peppers are a great source of vitamin C, and that red color in there is also a nice antioxidant. So whenever we have bright colored foods, we are consuming antioxidants, and this is going to help our body repair from any stress. Okay. Trim that off. All right, and that's our bell pepper. And then our last vegetable, I find for a stir fry, it's nice to have 3, so you have a contrast of flavors, colors, and shapes. So I've selected broccoli, but of course you can do this at home. You can use celery, you can use cauliflower, bok choy. Is there anything that's not good in a stir fry? Anything that maybe takes too long to cook, maybe like a potato or something would take a while. Most other vegetables, these should be pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna cut my florets. So I could just use the tip of my knife to trim this off. Do the whole head. This is a big head. We might not use all of it for our dish, but I want to look for pieces that are bite-sized. This is a little bit bigger. So to trim it, I'm going to slice through the stem, and then I'm going to tear it the remaining way, so I'm not hacking at it with my knife. So it looks kind of natural, rather than it's been like chopped up by like a landscaper. Okay. All right. Little pieces like this are nice. Okay, so just slicing through it and then gently tearing it. I would say probably half of this will get us about 4 servings. This looks like a good amount. Okay, so we have everything prepped, so we are ready to start cooking our stir fry. All right, so let's do our stir fry. So my pan is nice and hot. I let it preheat for a few seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and add my oil. So here I have a canola, oil, That should take 2 seconds to get hot because my pan was already warm. So I never want to cook my oil or warm it so it's so hot it starts to smoke. That's a sign that your oil is gone rancid and starting to get damaged from the heat. So if you see any little ripples in it, that's healthy, that's normal. It just shows that it's warming up. But sometimes on TV they have that for dramatic effect. But I would not eat that dish. It's going to taste bad and it's going to be a little inflammatory for your body. So this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and add my onion. Right. So just very quickly, for a stir fry, we want to be on pretty high heat. If you have a wok at home, you can use a wok, of course. Here I have a non-stick skillet, but you can use a regular skillet. You can use a cast iron. So for a stir fry, the idea is things are very lightly, they're cooked, but it's very quick motion to it, right? So we still have some crisp, some tenderness in our vegetables. So I don't want to lower my heat and walk away and get distracted, right? All right, it already smells so good. And when we're doing our stir fry, we want to start with the vegetables that take the longest to cook. So we're going to do the onions and then work our way through. Okay. They still look a little raw, but they are very close. Right? Okay, now they're starting to get a little clearer. All right, another 20 seconds or so, maybe less. All right, these look good. They look nice and glossy. They are nice and hot. So we're going to add our garlic. We're just going to stir that in very quickly. And then once we can start to smell the garlic, usually less than a minute, we can add our next ingredient. In this case, it will be our carrots. So what we want to get them to be tender crisp. So meaning that they are soft enough that they're not raw anymore, but they still have a little bit of a bite to them. They hold their shape really well. The garlic is sizzling. It smells so good. All right, we'll go another minute for the carrot. So this is a great way to use up leftover vegetables that you have in the fridge. Maybe, the day before you go grocery shopping, see what you have lying around. Chances are it probably makes a very good stir fry, right? Nothing too expensive. Whatever you have, throw it in there. It's going to be delicious. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add my bell pepper. So you can use any bell pepper here. The red is nice because it's the sweetest. Orange and yellow are pretty sweet too. But this way we get a nice variety of colors, right? We're not repeating any colors, so it's going to look really nice. The bell peppers are going to cook faster than the carrot. But while we're doing this, the onion and the carrot are still cooking too. So I'm just going to see how hot the peppers are. They need a little bit longer. If you wanted to add more protein to this dish, you can add chicken. You can cook it separately or add it first. Get it cooked so it's no longer pink, and then you can re-add it at the end. Or you can use tofu as well. Again, I would cook the tofu first, otherwise it's going to mush up and crumble. Shrimp is also great. Beef stir fry. Almost anything, really. And if you want to use beans, you can use like fresh edamame. That works really nice too. Okay, all right, our peppers look nice. Let's add our broccoli. So our broccoli is a little bit lower in water content, so I'm going to stir fry it for a minute and then I'm actually going to cover it so it can fully cook. That way when we go to bite it, it doesn't have that raw broccoli cellulose-y feeling. Right, so our broccoli, what we're really looking for is it's going to change in color too. So it goes from being this a little bit duller green to brightening up. And if you have things like leftover kale or collards, other leafy greens, you would add them last, stir them in. So good. All right, so once my broccoli starts to turn that nice green, it's like maybe 70% of that color change has happened. A few of them look really nice and bright. I have extra water in case I need it here. And I could tell everything's still nice and crispy and crunchy. Okay, so my broccoli definitely got brighter in color. So I'm going to cover it. I'm going to add just a splash of water so it will help it steam, just a little. And then my lid right here. Just cover it for a few seconds. That way we can cook the inside of the broccoli. I can lower my heat just a little bit. It will not take long. They're getting a little spa experience in here. They're going to come out very relaxed and happy. Okay. All right, this looks pretty good. Another little stir. I think everything looks really nice and happy. Okay, now that everything is pretty much cooked, let's add our peanut sauce. All right, so I've got our peanut sauce right here. We're going to go ahead and add it to the vegetables. You might not need all of it. You might have some leftover sauce. So I'm ladling in just enough to coat it. And I just want to stir it just so the sauce gets hot. It might thicken up slightly too. Just want to coat everything. Now is when we really get to start to appreciate the aromas of the sauce. Oh my God, I am hungry now. This looks so good. Okay, all right, we need to eat this right now. This is beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and plate our stir fry. All right, so our vegetables are ready. They're hot. Let's serve them. So for this dish, we're going to serve it with brown rice. So I've got some brown rice here. You can use, this is short grain. You can use long grain. Right. Make a mess. A little mess is okay. Give ourselves a good amount. Here. Oh my gosh, it is saucy. It is delicious. This looks so good. I would not mind this, I don't know, at least once a week. I could have this twice a week. I would be happy with that. Yum. All right, and for our garnish, we have some freshly cut cilantro, just a little bit on top. And then we'll add some chopped peanuts too. A little bit of a crunch. Right, so we've got all sorts of flavors and textures here. And this is our peanut sauce vegetable stir fry.